Hi, guys, and welcome to the fourth and final part of the second episode of H&H Off Hours. I'm Heather. We have Chris here. Say hi.
Hi.
And Jen.
I'm
Hello.
tired.
Yeah.
And Megan.
Hi.
And we are fading fast, which is indicated by the
Speak for
fact that I
yourself,
switched to water.
Oh, okay.
Well, if I say this is my sixth beer of the sixth so
Oh my gosh!
that mug took 4, alright? This mug right
Yeah.
here
Oh my
took
gosh!
4 beers.
What
Get out of
beer were you in there? When I did that, it only took 2 beers. It's like 2.5.
You have a really crappy pour then.
Well, I'm a wimp. I'm a wimp, and I had sangria before we started, and then I had like 2 little thimble things of Bailey's, and I'm done.
Yeah,
I want to enjoy my day off tomorrow, is all I'm saying.
Yeah.
I had 2 beers before we started back with dinner, but yeah. Anyway, Heather, what would you like to talk about today?
Oh, what's my obsession?
What is your obsession?
Yeah.
You
What
had
is
a
your
guess
obsession?
yet?
Is it the Avengers, Heather?
Could it be the Avengers, perhaps?
Is it the Avengers, or is it a certain archer from the Avengers?
It's actually, I wouldn't even say it's about Hawkeye. I would say it's Hawkeye and Black Widow is my obsession. Because
So it's a archer and an assassin.
I am in love with them. I love them so much. You said in the last segment, which, guys, will include links to all of the segments at the bottom of the video, and we will probably spread these out over a month.
And before we get into it, so everybody has a warning, the 1, when someone's holding up a 1, it means we're talking about spoilers for something later on that you might not want to hear, so just mute it.
And for some reason, we've started to just all hold up the 1 in support of the other person.
Yeah, but they can't see that, right?
I think it's
No,
a big
they can.
thing
They
now.
can see all 4 of us.
Yeah,
Down
yeah.
here on the bottom, they can see that video.
Oh, I didn't know that because I was sitting here making faces and.
I make faces all the time. It's part of the thing. It's part of the
Yeah.
shtick.
Yeah.
It's good.
Okay.
You're fine.
All right.
But I feel like you guys have heard me talk about Avengers for a year now. So I was actually going to talk about Lizzie Bennett. But it is kind of a fun story how I got into Avengers because like I've liked Joss Whedon stuff for a long time, but I wasn't really following his next project because it wasn't Dr. Horrible 2, and that's what I really wanted. So
Everybody wants Dr. Horrible.
Right? Like I'm like
No,
I've been waiting for that.
Going back to my episode, the previous one, about characters that deserve a freaking happy ending. Horrible,
Dr.
by
Horrible.
God, deserves something good to happen to him.
Yeah.
I mean,
No,
I get it.
he
But
brought,
I mean, in a twist,
he brought it on himself.
No, I get that. He brought everything. He's a bad guy. He brought everything on himself. But,
Wait, I feel like because I've never seen it.
oh God, you really need to.
I know.
It's 45 minutes. What have you been doing with your life?
You just need to, Megan, like tomorrow.
Watching.
Wait.
First 45 minutes of
Richard
your day,
Armitage.
go online to YouTube and watch.
No, I had it on Netflix. I can watch
Yeah,
it.
just watch it, please, because it's amazing.
It's
And
so
Neil
good.
Patrick Harris,
And
he does.
Nathan Fillion.
No, Nathan Fillion makes an amazing bad guy, or antagonist, I should say.
Yeah.
But by God, Horrible really, really, really deserves that happy ending that he never gets.
No.
And that was another character that I felt profoundly sad for.
Oh.
Yeah.
But anyway, so I had loved Dr. Horrible, actually. I watched it when it was, like, they were announcing it on the website, like, oh, go here on this date, and you can watch this new web series. Like, that's how closely I had been following Whedon during the writer's strike, because he was one of the writers that was, like, reaching out to the fans and saying, this is why we're doing what we're doing, and I've been into television for a long time, and it was interfering with the Battlestar finale, the final episode. So I was keeping.
O.J. Simpson's white car chase interfered with a Knicks finals game.
Oh,
That's all I'm saying.
wow.
I know.
Wow.
I know.
You know, Megan, I'm not going to say it. Anyway, Heather, go on before I make.
So yeah, so I was like, I saw Dr. Horrible when it was first on, and they were like crashing the site and everything. It was amazing. And anyway, so I was really just like, I was like, oh well, if he's not doing that, and I also really love Dollhouse and stuff. So.
God, now I just want to go listen to the soundtrack
Right?
for Horrible.
I know. My mom is obsessed with that soundtrack. I can't even tell you. It's
It's so
hilarious.
amazing.
She told me she like sings her favorite song in the shower.
Who doesn't?
But
Why is that weird?
We could tell you, Chris. We could tell you.
because
We'd
if
have
you
to
knew
tell
my
you.
mom, like I never would have expected her to like that show. She just adores it. She adores Bad Horse. So
Bad horse, bad horse. Sorry.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm done. For real. Heather, what is your obsession?
No. So anyway, so I heard he was doing this Avengers thing, and I had actually just moved to New York, and I heard he was filming in like Central Park, and I was like, oh, that's interesting, I guess, but I'm not going all the way out there. And it got closer and closer, and I started getting more into it because I liked some of the cast and all that. And then one of my friends who I had known from Battlestar fandom, we had both been major Starbuck and Apollo shippers. And she was like, so I have this new obsession, and she just like sent me like a bunch of links, and it was to like pictures, just pictures. All we had at that point were pictures of like Jeremy
All we
Renner,
had at that
Charlize
point were pictures.
I mean,
Theological
no.
dig.
this whole thing is very curious because a lot of people who came into Whedon was Buffy.
Right.
I mean that's when I first experienced him. Then it was Firefly, but I didn't even watch Firefly.
I did love Firefly.
But
I
I
did
didn't
love
even
that
watch
show.
Firefly the first time it was on. I watched maybe 2 episodes, but then I experienced the DVD. But Buffy and then Angel were my boom Whedon.
Oh, really?
So,
See,
yeah.
I'm not a Buffy or Angel fan.
And it's just interesting because I really think that Dr. Horrible is by far his best show. Easily. I put that above Buffy, I put that above Angel. And I don't know, I think it's interesting
But
that you
isn't that
can...
easier to say because it's so much shorter and like it didn't have a chance to
It is.
get bad or anything?
I didn't like the last seasons of Buffy. I didn't like where it went.
Well, I
thought
have a feeling he was delegating more by that point.
that probably what it was. I mean, that's just what
Because,
happens.
Right. And he had Angel going out at the same time. And,
Yeah. You just have a lot of projects.
Right. But so with Avengers, it was just like, oh, look at these pretty pictures. And I did not find Jeremy Renner attractive at all. I was like,
So-
really? Because he's short and he has like all those veins in his arms. And I
So-
was just like, not.
So wait. Was
I
he
love
like a...
It's the
Veiny
arms
arms.
that do it for me.
Baby
this-
I
arms.
know.
Yeah.
Wait, really? Veiny arms do it? That's
Oh.
not gross?
Oh,
Now I think it's
No.
super
Oh my
hot.
God.
I don't know.
No.
veiny arms, yes.
So
Yes.
So is this like the Pugly thing? What's his name? Bond? When I've been drinking, I have a horrible time
Daniel
with remembering
Craig?
names. Yes, Daniel Craig. Y'all think it's bad when I confuse Jen and Heather? When I've been drinking, it gets 10 times worse.
Oh,
So-
God.
I forget things like George R. Martin and Daniel Craig.
Oh.
Anyway, so is this like the Pugly thing? Like Liz, back when she worked with the site, she had the thing for, what's his name, Kurt Russell?
Daniel Craig. Oh,
Yeah.
And then Megan has a thing for
Daniel Craig.
or Daniel Craig, yeah.
Yeah.
So is this your ugly pretty?
I guess.
Heather?
I mean, I would never say he's pretty. I just think he's hot. Like, I don't think it's about his features. It's like, and
Is it his
I mean,
resting
about
face?
his body.
Is it his resting
his
face?
resting face is amazing. No, but and it's not about his body. Like, it's not. I mean, like, look at Jamie Bamber's body. Like that. He was my,
Yeah, but Bamber has the biceps. It even has like its own adjective.
But he also has the abs.
Does he?
And
Yeah, he
Renner-
does. I mean, what am I thinking about? He has that
Yeah.
picture we always have on the website. That's him in a towel.
Right.
As
So-
we should.
And I mean, Renner's getting older. He's like 42 now or something, so he doesn't have that same body.
Is
But
he
like,
that
if
old?
you,
Really?
Yeah, it took him a long time to get successful. Took the
I
hurt
did not
longer.
realize it.
Yeah, yeah.
He was too busy being a bad guy and getting shot by Colin Farrell.
Yeah.
Wasn't he? Wasn't he a bad guy for a long
Wait,
time?
What?
yeah. Oh,
It's-
and SWAT.
Yeah.
I was trying to remember what
Oh,
movie you were talking
And then
about.
there was that
Like,
horrible
a bad
28
guy
days later,
in
or
the
28
movie.
months later. It was just God. Oh God, I hate that movie. Anyway, Heather, what's your obsession?
We already know the obsession. We got that part.
Yeah, no, anyway, so at that point, like, there were just, like, pictures and trailers and stuff, and I was like, yeah, he's okay. And I didn't like Scarlett Johansson that much at the time. I was like, she's fine. But then, like, like, the more that I heard about, like, the background of the characters, and they just totally fit my insane, thing that I have for, like, friends to lovers and stuff like that. I heard, that he was supposed to kill her. Instead, he, brought her over to S.H.I.E.L.D., and then they became, like, partners and all this stuff, and I was like, boom, 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 like, you put all my things there. And I think it was seeing Jeremy Renner in, like, The Hurt Locker or something, where he has that swagger, and Jesus Christ,
So-
like, I was like, I'm done.
Well,
Sick of
no,
fucking me. I am
it's
done.
interesting because, like in the previous episode, you said, or a couple episodes
Oh
ago.
boy. Oh boy.
Well, no, you were saying how you are all friends to lover. I'm very Dayglow right now.
Yeah, like, that's my favorite trope ever. I can't explain it.
Yeah,
I
but
don't-
Hawkeye and Widow are very much enemies to lovers.
No.
But they try to kill each other. I mean, you can't.
Well,
you can't say I'm my best friend, so I'm going.
no,
to...
he was
They're more like
no,
enemies
no.
to friends to lovers.
No, he
Wait,
was
what'd you say,
sent.
Jen?
I said they're more like enemies to friends to lovers.
No, but
That's
I
very
think
complicated
Yeah.
for
There's
me
some
personally.
math. There's a lot of math.
and we're English majors, Jen.
Yeah.
Remember that.
Yeah.
No, but I mean, I guess, like, and it's kind of complicated because I got into the movieverse, and then I already loved them, and then in the comics, I can just justify it any which way I would like, and just be like, oh, but I still love them. I don't really have the same attachment in the comics unless it's movieverse comics, which they've started to do more of, like making them more like their movie characters. But and obviously their background is still like up for debate because Whedon was very vague in the background. But literally all Widow says is that she got on S.H.I.E.L.D.'s radar in a bad way. Hawkeye was sent to kill her. He made a different call, which to me says that S.H.I.E.L.D. was her enemy. And Hawkeye was supposed to go, fulfill this mission that he had probably had a million times before. He's a sharpshooter. He doesn't get close. He just goes in, he makes the shot, and then he leaves. But he saw something in her that, made him unable to do his job for whatever reason, whether it was just because he thought she could be a good asset or because he kind of stalked her for a while and kind of fell for her. I don't know. But so I don't think that you could ever really say that they were enemies. And then, so he brings her over, and it's not just like he's done with her. Then, they become partners, and they have like this whole thing. And then, like her whole mission in Avengers is to get him back. And you see them like together, like when they're in battle, they're like right hand, left hand. And you see them in the recovery room, and they have that insane chemistry. Where they understand what the other person is going through, and then the way they even walk together at the end of Central Park, like, just to me, it's very like.
Wait, I hadn't heard about
bond.
the Park part. I've heard about your obsession with the shawarma scene, which is a post-credit scene in the movie The Avengers. I hadn't heard about your Central Park thing. I have to go back and watch it now.
Oh yeah, I noticed.
It's not a thing. It's just. It's they are driving Bruce to the. God, like my obsession is clear as day right now. But they are. It's a very very small thing. Like you probably don't even notice it. But when they are escorting Loki in Central Park,
don't they get into a Shield car? They're the only ones that get into a marked car at the end.
Right. Tony drives up in his convertible. Steve drives up in a motorcycle.
He goes away with his science bestie.
Right, but I'm talking about when they arrive there, though. When they arrive there,
oh, okay.
And Steve rides up his motorcycle, and then Clint and Natasha are giving Bruce a ride, and then he leaves with the science bro, and but when they're getting there, and then they get out of the car, Bruce kind of goes like wanders over there, but then Clint and Natasha get out of the car, and they have to like walk right next to each other. And then there's that part where she's like whispering, like she's like glaring at Loki for a second, and then she goes and whispers something in Clint's ear. So it's very like.
I'm really going to have to go back and watch this now.
Yeah, and I mean like when.
I think Heather might be able to lend you a DVD or two.
No, I have one.
I'm just thinking. Really? Because I want to see it again, so somebody has to lend it to me.
Yeah, I need to see it too, actually.
Yeah.
And then like it's just like these very little things, like when they're looking for Loki and Clint, they're talking about, oh, we need to find Loki, and Natasha's in the background saying like there's not enough time, or we won't find them in time or something, and everyone else is talking about Loki, and she has a picture of Clint's picture up. So it's like little things like that where. To me, it's like all about their friendship and their bond, like whether it's romantic or not. Like I want it to be, but it's just a friendship bond at that point, and I'm like hooked. I'm like, I need to see more in the next movie.
So, then is this like what Heather or Jen's obsession was? TVD, The Vampire Diaries, and it was we went through the whole thing about it being episodic and stuff. So is there anything about the particular medium of a movie, or did it translate well into comics? I mean, I know you got into the comics because me and you have talked about it.
Right.
I know you got into the comics after watching the movie. So has it translated into a different medium, or is it just you like the movieverse?
No, I mean that's a great point, because for me, like it's usually TV, and that's where all of my major ships have come from, except like my first one, which was Titanic. But that was just like
really.
Whatever.
I know, no. I gotta say, I was
11.
I went and watched Beautiful Creatures this weekend, which it really is a very good movie.
It's on my to-watch list, so...
Is it good?
It is very good. The southern accents make me want to claw my eyes out, and...
Half the cast is British, so I'm not surprised.
Okay. No, I mean, Jeremy Irons doesn't even fake it. He's just like, I'm going to be Jeremy Irons, so...
Jeremy Irons is always Jeremy Irons.
Exactly,
He's awesome.
And it was everything I wanted from Jeremy Irons as a male witch in South Carolina. But
I'm going to South Carolina again, guys.
No, there's this. Oh crap! I lost the thought. No, there's this really good. No, it's okay.
Beautiful Creatures, Jeremy Irons.
No, before that, what were
and like the crossing over from
Yeah.
like TV to movies and like the expanded universe.
Episodic.
Because you were asking me about like why, like, is it weird that you're like shipping in a movie?
Okay, so I mean, Jeremy Irons or Beautiful Creatures is what I was talking about. Beautiful Creatures. I felt like there was this whole other level of world building going on that the movie wasn't able to get into. All right. So there's this whole other level of. Damn it! I lost it.
I mean, I kind of like that about Avengers in that I have started reading the comics because of the movies, but the comics are so like there's so much about. It's stretched over such a long period of time, and there's a lot of like storylines that I don't really like. And in the movies, it's very like only certain things have been confirmed as being canon at this point, so it's still very open-ended. Like, I don't know if Clint was in the circus. He could have just been in the military before this or something. So there's still a little bit in that I can kind of make things up until I'm told something different in the next movie. So I kind of like how it's like this little capsule, but then I am super invested. Like, I'm usually invested in TV, which is like a future universe. So, like, I feel like if Avengers was a movie that began and then ended, I wouldn't be as obsessed as I am. I think I'm obsessed because there is still the potential for them to have an arc. So I think that's what I'm shipping is their arc.
Going back to our whole thing, each of our obsessions. I mean, like I said,
Megan, you're giving me this like weird look. I feel like.
No.
Well,
sorry.
You look so puzzled.
The kitty's on the desk doing crazy things, so I was looking.
Well, going back to our obsessions.
Don't forget to plug Lizzie Bennett because I want to do that before.
Right. Yeah.
Well, no. I mean, going back. A quick aside. Going back to our obsessions. Jen, yours was TVD, The Vampire Diaries. Megan's, yours was episode 1, which was Vampire Academy, Vampires Again. Mine was horror and romance, and Never the Two Shall Meet, and heroes deserving good endings. So the obsessions that we've all come across, is it the part of the obsession, is it being able to imagine, like, the room to imagine something more for everything? Like, is that what's causing the obsession? Is it the having room to imagine your own story outside of what the creators intend? Is that what makes an obsession? Like, is that what's allowing us to, like, I don't know.
Well, I think it's also, I mean, all right, the kitty has just totally knocked all this stuff down on the desk.
That's what cats do.
Yeah.
I didn't know. I've never had a cat before until now. And,
So yeah.
I kind of would say yes, because in that's kind of why I gravitate towards fandom, is because I see like, you know, a product, and then I want more out of it than the creators had intended, and then I go find that elsewhere with like other people.
Until I met Heather, I didn't even realize that was possible, actually.
You didn't realize what was impossible, like imagining a whole other story outside of what the creator intended?
I mean, I had impure thoughts about North and South and what happened in the train in the last scene. I've had thoughts about that, but I didn't actually think it was a thing. I just thought it was something, you know, it was just like one scene that I had thought of, and I didn't realize. And it's kind of awesome that now I know that I can think about this stuff and then do stuff with it and riff on it and move on, and yeah. So.
Well, you say that. I mean, my wife, Jessie, we talked about her in the first episode, but she's told me repeatedly about how she has read Lord of the Rings and imagined a completely ending for Boromir, and there was this whole other side story that she's created where he didn't really die at the end of Fellowship. So
you should write a fanfic.
Well, no, I mean, that's spoilers for another book that was written in the 1930s.
We all know your thoughts on spoilers in books that are written that long ago.
Yeah.
Boromir was Sean Bean, right?
Yeah, I mean, he's going to die because he's Sean Bean.
Because
I love Sean Bean.
Poor guy, though. He dies and everything.
That's because he's too pricey, so he's like making bank. Right? I mean, they can only afford him for one movie, so they bring him in to bring the cachet and the star power. They kill him off. They're done. Yay.
So, Jen, is the openness of being able to imagine a ending, like a story outside of what people make, is that what draws you to your obsession?
I think
but
so.
She
because
also, you know, like Jen has talked about, she doesn't, like, Jen and Megan don't obsess over things quite the way we do.
Yeah.
I don't think they would go read fanfic for things.
I know,
no,
but
I'm not going to go out and read fanfic for, like, Delana.
Even though you totally should.
Well,
I might
okay,
someday,
even if you don't go out and go out and read this stuff, is the possibility, like, is the open-endedness of it, like the possibility that you can fill in the blanks, like it's a big Mad Lib, like you can.
That's not for me at all.
Back?
But
no, you like your definite ending, right?
I do.
Yeah.
I do. Well, there's been one book that I've read that had an open-ended ending that I loved, and it's the only time that that's happened, and I was warned that it had that kind of ending, so I knew going in, because otherwise I would have been severely disappointed, because it was a 900-page book.
But both you and Jen, tonight, or in this series, have mentioned how you couldn't let it end at where it ended. Like, y'all have both, and Jen mentioned how one of the reasons that drew her to Vampire Diaries was each episode was this huge cliffhanger. And you mentioned how you were on the subway train, Megan, and you couldn't even, like, you finished book 1 of Vampire Academy, and you're like, I have to read book 2. It was just this voracious need.
Yes.
So, couldn't you say that it was also that open-endedness?
No, because I think that I needed to know what the author was going to think about. Like, if the ending ends up another of the
Oh,
Shelby
that's-
series.
That makes me think though of authorial intent and like
Yeah.
because like I'm sitting here going on about Clint and Natasha and how I see the movie, and it's clear that you guys have like did not even see that, like it was like background to you.
Yeah, I
And
have-
to me,
I
like,
actually saw. No, I saw a lot. I gotta say, I saw a lot of that because I'm always looking for the romance,
No,
and I'm
Yeah.
always looking for the connection.
but you
and
see
I
what I'm
saw
saying? Like, do you see what I'm saying
that.
though? Like, did Joss intend that, or is that I'm reading
See,
more into it
no,
and I'm making it open ended?
Does it matter? It doesn't
Well,
matter.
that goes back to Heather's question: authorial intent versus reader intent, or
Right.
reader interpretation versus authorial intent.
That goes
Which
back
is more
to my buddy
which is
Immanuel
critical here.
Kant. So, but
I thought you
but-
didn't like Kant.
I like the one a priori thing.
Oh, okay.
I'm much more a bigger fan of Nietzsche, but I think that the reason I needed to read that third book in the series so quickly is because I wanted to know what was going to actually happen.
Mm-hmm.
Like if I were just obsessed and wanted to write my own dream
Well-
sequence of it, then I would just have done that. But I
Well-
needed to know what she's going to do. But wait.
But I
But
need to know that too. Like I have the
Right, of
complete,
course,
like,
yeah. But
And then
also,
you secretly hope that it goes along with what you are hoping happens.
no,
well, of course, we all do,
like,
though,
Yeah.
don't we?
Well, but I mean, like for me, like it would be like it's different for, but like for instance, I think I mainlined the first 3 seasons of BSG, and I just went along with it. I think it's when you're done like binge watching because you have no expectations, and then at the end of that, you take kind of what you've gotten out of what the author has given you. And then from there that's at least for me, then that's my jumping off point. If I'm still feeling a certain way at the end of a certain thing, that's when I start like building my own thing. But I don't just like after one book I'm not like, oh, now I want to go create some parallel storyline or whatever. Like I do exactly what you do, Megan. I want to know what the author has in mind next. It's just that
Right.
when he or she is done, then I'm like, okay, now what could happen? Kind of
Right.
thing.
Oh, no, I totally agree. Which is,
Yeah.
again, the train scene in North and South.
I don't
Just
think I've
saying,
ever-
I'm going to write it one of these days.
I really don't think I've ever made it to the train scene. What's so special? Is that when they finally get
You
on
saw
with
that.
it?
You
No, I
saw
didn't.
the
I
end.
didn't make it to the
Oh,
end.
no, you left.
Oh.
Because it was a really long
yeah.
day.
Oh.
Yeah,
I'm guessing this-
I went back and watched it. Oh, it's so good.
I'm guessing
Yeah.
this isn't like the Anna Karenina train scene.
No.
No.
No. No. It has a train scene, and they're just sitting there, and they're kind of, acknowledging their love and stuff. And
Yeah.
I would like to see more physical demonstrations of it, and I would plan to write it one of these days.
Yes, that would
all
be
I'm saying.
fan fiction.
Yes. But every,
A porn without plot fan fiction. PWP.
Wait, what's TWT?
PWP.
PWP, porn without plot.
Oh,
Yeah.
so is that like guy porn?
What?
Porn
No,
without
it's
plot,
like
is that
porn
like guy
without
porn?
I don't know. I don't
No,
know the
no.
distinction between guy porn and what's lady porn.
I thought that was what erotica was.
No, but Chris,
Oh, okay.
Chris, I think I know what you're saying, but no, in that porn without plot comes from something with a plot. It's just like a spin-off.
Oh,
It's just like
okay.
a 40 scenes from it. Or like a
No,
porn-
I would build a whole book around it with a plot. It would just have we're fucking in the train scene. It's all that's what I want to see. And I would write it.
That's just gonna happen. I mean, just deal with it.
And people that didn't know the inspiration wouldn't know, and it wouldn't be obvious, and it'd be fine.
So then, obsession, going back to the whole theme of the discussion, obsession isn't necessarily the promise of what could happen. Because I know that's definitely what drives me. I mean, the possibility of any of the characters I've experienced having that happy ending, I mean, went into the whole that with my episode.
Mm.
The possibility of what could be between Clint and Natasha is what drives Heather, but it's obviously, or what y'all say is it's not what drives you to be obsessed with what you're obsessed with.
It's what drives me a lot with Vampire Diaries, with like seeing what could happen between Damon and Elena, because that is the ship that I'm hoping comes in, and I
Yeah.
think it will. But yeah, so I mean that's what drives me a lot in my obsession. But
but not Megan.
Well, no, you know what? I don't think I think I tend to, and this is a problem in my personal life as well, but I tend to accept the premise of things. So I accept the premise in the Vampire Academy that Rose and Dimitri will be together, and I want them to be together. Even, well, that's like from the
That is
first.
the premise. I mean, you can't spoil the plot.
You can't. I didn't know. There's no fingers. I want them to be together. I know they're going to have a rough ride. And I know I also wouldn't want to read about them after they're together. Because I'm just not that kind of reader.
You don't want an epilogue. I think you've been vocal about that.
Fairly vocal on the site, yes. And also, interestingly enough, I read some urban fantasy series where the couples are together, and I'm much less interested.
So, that brings up a good point. We're all obsessive over certain things. Epilogues. Do you like them? Megan, we know we don't like.
Yes.
I've been surprised over the vehemence about them because I've never really minded them.
So many people actually love them.
I'm like
I was
ambivalent.
surprised.
I like them to a certain extent. I don't remember if I mentioned this just in The Office or in the last book club, but I read an epilogue once where the character dies. Like, they take it up to their death.
That's ridiculous.
And it's the husband burying the wife, and
Oh.
literally 3 pages before that, they're like, happily ever after.
Why?
And then
Oh my god!
That's
And
That would
horrible.
ruin the book for me.
it served no
No,
purpose.
I gotta say that the ending to the epilogue to Harry Potter ruined everything for me. I could have done without it. Both the film and the books, I could have done without that. I mean, most of the time in fantasy, epilogues are, they're not quite what they are in romance. It's not
Because
like
they've only had 1,300 freaking pages to explain what they're doing. They need to have another epilogue?
you just need that extra 10
People.
pages.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, the only time I've ever really experienced epilogues that really matter, like in Harry Potter, it's just been really disappointing, and I don't care. Heather?
But, well, I actually wanted to, now that my Avengers Dirty Laundry has been aired, if you're watching this and you want to talk Avengers anytime. I will probably be hopefully updating my Clint and Natasha post one of these days if we ever get any new news about what's going on with them. But my other obsession right now is the Lizzie Bennet Diaries, which is a web series. It's a modern-day adaptation of Pride and Prejudice, and it's a multimedia program, and it's amazing. It's interactive. All the episodes are like 3 to 5 minutes long, except for some exceptions, and you can find them on like YouTube and Tumblr, and all the characters have Tumblr accounts, and they have Twitter accounts, and the main story goes along in this one YouTube channel. What are you doing, Chris?
Why?
Your face is suddenly like there's like this beam of light on you.
Oh,
Are you being
He's
abducted?
moon pie
no,
face.
I opened up a web page and it was just, I was looking stuff up.
Oh. Anyway, so the main storyline goes along on this one channel. It's Lizzie's main channel. And then her sister Lydia has her own video blog, and it's amazing. And they update it like twice a week, and parts of the story can only be found on, like Tumblr and Twitter because people are talking about things that are happening in between the episodes, and it's just fantastic. And tonight they actually won some kind of award, not but the whole cast was there. And it's just really cool. Like they're doing all this like innovative new stuff with the show, and I love it. So that's that. You should watch it, and then we will talk about it. We've done a few posts on the site, and it's fantastic.
Mm-hmm.
So they've tied in Tumblr and everything else. So can
Yeah.
you get things other than, like, if you want to follow the story, do you have to go to Lydia? Like, do you have to go to Lydia's channel?
No. Like, if you wanted, you could just watch Lizzie's video blog and get like the main gist of the story. It would be like reading Pride and Prejudice because that's pretty much like Lizzie's story. So if you watch Lizzie's video blog, you'll get the main story. But then they've also, like, I've never seen Lydia written as three-dimensional as she is in this series. Like, she actually comes across as more than this, like, flaky, vapid, little spoiled girl. Like, she is still those things, but she's developing in a way that you never see in any other adaptation.
That's so interesting.
It's
fantastic. I think it's safe to say that every one of us have read the Jane Austen.
Yeah.
So, I mean, how, like, is it true Jane Austen? Like, is it just pretty much?
No, it's modern day, so it's the the fun.
It's not. What was that one that was a while back that had Renee Zellweger?
Bridget Jones.
Yeah, so it's not Bridget Jones.
No. It's more than. Bridget Jones, I think you would say is more just like influenced by Pride and Prejudice in that, like, Darcy is Darcy, but like it's more just like an influence. This actually is following the story, and all the characters have the same names and everything, but it's modern day. So Lizzie is a grad student, and she is starting a video blog as part of her thesis, and she's telling the story of her and her sisters and her life, and part of the fun of the show is how the story goes, but you don't know how they're going to interpret it in modern day. So, for instance, like, instead of going off to marry Mr. Collins, what's her best friend's name?
Oh,
Lizzie's best friend. Charlotte.
Charlotte, there we go.
To say
gosh.
we're all obviously experts in romance.
No. I'm so tired at this point.
Charlotte Lucas.
Yeah, Charlotte
Lucas.
But Charlotte Lucas is Charlotte Lou, and instead of going off to marry Mr. Collins as she does in the book for practical reasons and all this, instead, in modern day, where it wouldn't really be practical to just marry some stranger because you don't need him for, like, your the money and all that. So instead she goes and she joins his company. Like, he works for like a website or something, and he's a online entrepreneur, and she goes and works for his company. And it's interesting because it makes perfect sense. Like, it's not a marriage, but it causes the same kind of conflict with Lizzie. She's like, why would you go work for this guy when you could stay here at home and, continue working with me and have, it's the same, like, it's a parallel conflict, but it works perfectly.
That's kind of awesome.
Yeah. So, and the fun is seeing, like, how they can keep going with the story, but make it fit in, like, a modern day scenario. And, like, Darcy is amazing. Like, Pemberley is Pemberley Digital. So it's not like he's living in a mansion, though. Apparently he does have a mansion. But,
so are we talking? He's another young billionaire.
Darcy is a hipster.
Oh, he's a hipster.
Yeah. He's so adorable. Oh my God.
Well, my main question is, because my favorite scene in that book, the favorite scene in the BBC documentary, is the initial rejection, like the initial proposal.
Yeah.
Is that just as awesome as it is with Colin Firth and whatever her name is?
I should have been
Jennifer Eel.
Jennifer Eel.
I should have been doing this the whole time. Like, I feel like this is a very much an ongoing story, so I feel like I'm very much spoiling it. So I don't know if we could.
Okay.
I feel like
everybody
we should go
knows
back.
how Pride and Prejudice is.
Yeah.
Is the scene
I know, but
is the scene equal?
You can spoil. Yeah. Well, it goes back to what I said about Charlotte, where it's not necessarily about marriage, but it is still an important, and it's an important thing that he says to her, and it is romantic, and she totally rejects him.
I love that rejection. I love it.
It's good.
Yeah.
It's good.
It's so good in every incarnation of the film too. Like, even if you don't like the other incarnations, like, that scene is always pretty epic.
That's the thing. I can't remember the Matthew McFadden version.
Oh, I love that one.
Oh,
I love that one.
Yeah,
I think that's like the best
so
part of the movie.
That is the least memorable version that I can think of.
I really like it.
It's real good. Real good.
But
I like that version a lot, actually. And I was
it's not-
lucky enough to see it with Moretta, the founder of Pemberley.com.
But no, see,
And,
Matthew
you know.
McFadden, he's just too whiny to be Darcy for me. He really is.
Oh.
He's like, he has
okay,
like
this
pouty
is a
face.
whole. Wait. No, stop. This is another total different topic about our favorite PMPs and what makes certain ones good and what, because.
We should have that one night. We should have favorite
Definitely.
Pride and Prejudice night.
Definitely.
Yes, because the crux of it is Darcy.
Mhm.
And
It always
the
comes
reading
down to
of Darcy is crucial to how the various iterations play out. And I have very strong, as one
Who
might
doesn't
expect.
have strong feelings about Darcy?
Yes.
I mean, really. If
Yeah.
you
We all have
don't
strong
have a
feelings for
concrete
Darcy.
image of Darcy, raise your hand.
Yeah, you can.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
So I think we should do that for another topic at some point.
Okay.
But I am really, really enjoying this, and I'm seeing more and more people talk about it, and it's just, it's so innovative. Like, I love it so much. I love that it's turning it into a serial novel in that you're tuning in 2 or 3 times a week, I believe it is,
Yeah.
to
Mhm.
see the new installment, and you know how the story goes, but you don't know how this story goes. So it's just a load of fun, and it's why I think serials could work, and that and like television is why I'm obsessed with television and universes and all that. So I love that it is just it is that it's kind of, and it works perfectly with fandom, and they encourage like fan accounts and fan art and all that stuff, fan fiction. I think they encourage all of that, and I think it's just the way it's going.
So,
That's
going,
my plug for the Lizzie Bennett Diaries. You should watch it.
No, going back to what we were saying before, where obsessions are the promise of what could happen. Do you think then that this is the promise of how the team? I'm not sure how it's set up, but how they're going to interpret Pride and Prejudice?
Yeah, because I think at this point, like, people are seriously obsessed with the guy that plays Darcy, and they're obsessed with seeing Darcy and Lizzie together, and they know like the basic outline of how the story goes, but they don't know how, like you said, how they're going to interpret it, because, like, for instance, that proposal scene is different. He says something different. So is it going to end with them getting married, with a double wedding with Jane, or is it just going to end with her, like, coming to work at Pemberley Digital? Like, is it going to be, so they want to see the kiss. They want the kiss, and I really want the kiss too, like, a lot. And I think there was a question of, and it's funny because more and more people are emailing me about this, like, are you caught up with this? I figure if anyone knows about this, it's you, Heather, and I'm like, yes, now I do. Like, literally 3 or 4 of my friends have specifically written to tell me that they're obsessed and can we please talk about it. And, I'm seeing it pop up more on Twitter. People are really getting into it. And one of the big questions has been, are they going to stop at where the novel stops, or are they going to keep going? And apparently there's a Q&A on the official site that says they are going to stop where the story,
okay,
pretty much where the story starts, like a kind of an equal thought. And then it sounds like they already have plans for their next project. And I guess there was a rumor that it could be Jane Eyre, which would be interesting. So I wouldn't mind something like Emma or something, because I think that's really good too. But so I'm pretty excited, and it's like it could be like this genre thing where, it's this new thing where you tune in to the web to see these stories told in a new way. I dig it. I love the fact that it's incorporating fandom like it is. I think that's incredible. So I'm in it, and it's drawing to a close, I think. And then I think I'll have to go check out Lydia's video blog.
Okay.
But you guys should watch it. I feel like as Pride and Prejudice fans, you should
I
give it a shot.
I queued up an episode.
It's a little hard to get into at first because, the first few episodes are just her in her bedroom, and she's kind of setting everything up, and she does reenactments of things instead of getting to see the characters. So it is kind of like the slow progression, but because the episodes are so short, you can just kind of go on a rampage and catch up. And Darcy doesn't show up until like episode 60, though you hear about him a lot before then. But when he does, you're like, oh, it was worth the wait.
Did you say 60? Like
Yeah, she did.
60?
Yes.
Oh my gosh.
But I think this is a situation where the numbers of the episodes are a lot more intimidating because they're what, right, Heather? They're like 5 minutes
Yeah.
apiece.
Some of them are like 3 minutes long. So.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I mean, you can make 60 in like a few hours.
Yeah.
Right, yeah.
Yeah. So it's good. I like it. You should watch it.
So
And I think you'll see more and more people talking about it, and I would think it'll eventually be out on DVD and stuff.
I would imagine so too.
Heather, to sum up, why should people like Clint and Natasha?
I don't even know where to start because they're beautiful, and they're each badass, and together they're even more badass. And they're written by Joss Whedon, so they're very clever and funny. And they're a great example of friends to lovers, or friends who should be lovers. So,
Or enemies to friends to lovers.
Yeah.
whatever.
Yeah.
However
As
you
Jen
want to
put it so
interpret it.
succinctly.
However
then-
you want to interpret it.
And
Yeah.
then why should we watch Lizzie Bennet Diaries?
And Lizzie Bennet Diaries, I mean, I feel like if you're a fan of Pride and Prejudice, you should give this modern-day adaptation a shot because it is freaking clever, and it is possibly the new way. Like it's kind of like this new wave in internet TV. I think it's pretty awesome.
Yep.
And there's lots of romance. So. Yeah.
Alrighty.
Anyway, guys, I think this concludes the fourth part of our second episode of H&H Off Hours. And we'll just say that we're signing out for one more episode, and we'll see you again soon. And check back at Heroes and Heartbreakers for more goodness from these kids.
Crazy.
And yeah, we'll see you again soon.
Bye.
Bye, guys.
Stay tuned for the Darcy debate.
Oh, yeah.
Ooh.
It's coming eventually.
Yep.
Alrighty,
It's
guys.
coming.
Good
A
night,
round
guys.
table.
Good night.
Good night. Yeah.
Good night.